Hello and welcome to the Unofficial BSHL Senior Hockey League podcast. My name's Corey and I'm joined by my co-host. Everybody get ready for it. Corey.
Really? Him? Why?
God knows why.
God knows, huh?
Here we are though. We have a big interview coming up with Connor Smith.
Really good dude. Good dude. Good
He's
dude.
A good dude and a good dude.
Tongue-tied here today. No, Connor, big thanks to him. A fantastic interview. Probably our longest interview yet. Really good stuff. I know that people are going to love this one.
Yeah, we it ends up just being us talking. But,
yeah.
That's fine. It was fun. Hopefully everybody else enjoys it. What are the games this week, Corey? Let's break it down real quick.
Friday, 2 games. Bucktouche at Shippigan and Springhill at River Valley.
Ooh, okay. You want to make the predictions right now?
Sure, we can.
All right, let's do it. I think Shippigan gets their win.
I think so too. So we both got Shippigan on that one. River Valley and Springhill. I'm going with Springhill.
I think River Valley takes it. They're at home. They're a tough team to play at home. So,
all right. So next up, we got on Saturday.
Yep.
The LC Puck Duck Hawks are at Dalhousie.
Is that the only game Saturday?
No, Miramichi at Springhill as well.
That's right. Bill Riley's return to Springhill. I think Springhill takes it against Miramichi.
I think Springhill takes Miramichi as well. So I'm gonna put a pin there. And LC and Dalhousie. They just fought a hell of a game. I think LC's gonna be really determined on this game. I'm going with LC.
I'm going to pick Dalhousie at home, but I think it's going to be a close game. Could be overtime. I don't know. It's going to be a good game, though.
Yeah.
That game last weekend was
crazy.
Two good teams. Sunday,
the sole game. Tracadie at LC Puck Duck.
I can't wait for this one.
Yeah.
I only saw Tracadie one time, and it was last week. I'm looking forward to seeing them again because they're a pretty good team. They're a fun team, skilled team. I think the Hawks take this one.
I think the Hawks take this one as well. Nothing against Tracadie. I think after last weekend, I picked the Hawks to win both games because I think they kind of have a chip on their shoulder. I think they were the team to beat this year, and one more loss and they're at 500. So they want to stay above that, and I think they're gonna just power through this weekend and get both wins.
That's fair. I think you hear Connor Smith talk about that in the interview coming up, how tough the Hawks are to play and how confident they are. And
I was surprised that he said that Springhill has never, ever beaten the Hawks. Not last year, not in the playoffs, not this year. They are 0 whatever against the Hawks. That's surprising.
I can tell you that if that series happens in the playoffs, I would love that. That would be a phenomenal series.
Yeah. Because Springhill is a fantastic team this year. The Hawks are still a fantastic team this year. Yeah. The league has just become so much better. It's incredible.
Only a year or two for the BSHL, although there was an existence before that, but only up. It's pretty fantastic league. We're pretty proud to be able to cover it, and we're kind of addicted to it. It's it's what it is. A little bit addicted to it. Man, Corey, it's going to be a short episode this week with us because we're going to cut to that Connor Smith interview. But
we got a few more things before we go.
All right, go for it.
Last week we both went 3-2 in our predictions.
Okay.
So, my predictions had Tracadie winning, River Valley winning, and I believe I had Dalhousie winning. I had Springhill winning, and I had LC winning. And I got 3 out of 2. Corey, he had picked Miramichi, River Valley, Dalhousie, Springhill, and LC Puck Duck. River Valley and LC Puck Duck on Sunday did not win, but Corey as well is 3-2. So our scores as of right now are, for me, 16-10, and Corey, you're at 14-12.
I'll take it. Hopefully I can scratch back one more game this weekend. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a battle.
It's going to be a battle. And last thing before we leave, the standings. Going into week 8, Dalhousie Marauders 9-2 record, 8 14 points. They are by far the top team right now. In second place, surprising, but it really shouldn't be, the Springhill Coal Miners. 5-3-1 record, 11 points, up 2 spots. The LC Puck Duck Hawks in third place, 5-4 record, 10 points, down 1. The Tracadie Alpine are in fourth place, 5-4 record as well, 10 points, also down 1 point. The Mirror Machine Northmen are in fifth, 5-3 record, 10 points. Sixth place is the River Valley Lumberjack, 3-4, 6 points. Seventh place, the Bucktooth JC, 3-6 for 6 points. And our poor Shippigan Marshall in eighth place, still searching for that one win. They are 0-6-2 for 2 points.
Hopefully Shippigan picks it up this weekend. They're a better team than their record shows.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, very short show because we have a very long interview. So, Corey?
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the interview. Check out the page over this weekend. We're going to be launching our giveaway with Flow Hockey out of Doketown, New Brunswick, which is going to be a fantastic giveaway. Details for that are coming up in the next day or so. Hopefully you guys can enter that and, win yourself some burgers, win yourself a hat, win yourself some summer skates. And check out Flow Hockey on Facebook. We'll link them on our page. Corey, I think that's all we got this week.
Yep, it's everything. Yeah.
He's speechless. That's all we have.
Speechless.
We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Hello and welcome to the Beausejour Senior Hockey League podcast. I forgot to say podcast right there. Corey, my co-host, is here with me.
Hello.
And we're joined by Connor Smith from the Springhill Coal Miners.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, buddy? We
had a good weekend. Had a big win on Saturday night.
You're pretty excited about that one, eh?
Yeah, I think it's the first time we've ever reached double digits. It was nice.
Really? It was a really good game. You guys had a solid crowd for a Saturday night where there's so much going on.
Yeah, we did. I don't know. It seems like a big crowd, and then after the fact, you look at how many people. I don't know the attendance numbers, but you look at how much was made, and it's oh, was there really that many people? But I think now hunting season's officially over, so we're getting in. Same thing happened last year. Our first 4 or 5 home games, we the crowds fluctuated, and then right before Christmas, they skyrocketed, and then we packed the place after Christmas. So I don't know if it's just a thing or if the Ramblers are good right now too. So I mean, they played West Kent last weekend and had 700 fans. So
yeah. Do you guys have a lot of season ticket sales?
We didn't sell season tickets this year. Only because of the 9 games. There wasn't really any way for us to sell it where it would make it worthwhile for the fan and make it worthwhile for us. Because, we could have sold them for $80, but then missing out on a game, you sell them for $90, you don't really get anything. And then it wasn't until after the fact that the arena told us that we could put stickers on the seats to have reserved seating. If we had have known that, it would have been worth $100. Because you could have picked where you wanted to sit.
Yeah, and then just showed up late.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I know a few teams did the $80, so you saved the $10, but...
Right. Have you been to Dalhousie yet?
Saturday.
Oh, my God. Have fun trying to find a place to sit.
Oh, man, I'll stand. It's fine. You know me. It's whatever.
Oh, my God. Eric Beltier told me they had 600 season tickets sold. 600.
That's incredible, eh?
You can
for senior hockey.
Yeah, it's crazy. When you walk in, you can only really sit on the right side of the rink because there's so many seats that.
Okay, then.
Connor just dropped off there. You back?
Yeah.
All right. You dropped off when you were saying that you can only sit on the right side.
Yeah, you can only sit on the right side of the rink. It's weird.
Is it the left side's all reserved seats?
Well, pretty much, and then there's who would want to sit where the stickers aren't, right?
Yeah. Well,
have you ever been in that rink?
I've been to Dalhousie a ton. I've never been to a hockey game in Dalhousie, so I'm Saturday will be the first time. It's interesting.
Yeah. The way it's made is really weird. It's like there's no seating on like the far end, but it's like a bowl seating on the home team end. So like their bench is on the left, on behind the net. There's a bunch of seats, and then there's seats on both sides, and then the other team's bench is on the other side.
So like Miramichi, how there's like bowl seating on the opposite end, but also a little bit different too.
Yeah, just the opposite. But it looks really weird because like the canteen and everything's up ahead, like it's up behind it, and then there's just like a bowl of like 300 seats.
Wow. I'll find out on Saturday. That's odd. We're talking about rinks. Why do you think the crowds have been so much better this year in most cities?
I feel like it's because the teams are established. Like, it's tough to start off I mean, it wasn't really for us because, like, even our first game, we had 450 people or something like that. But I know, like, River Valley struggled for a little bit. Like, we went up there once last year, and there wasn't a lot of fans. And then, like, we went up another time, and it was packed. So, I mean, I think it just takes some time to get off the feet. Like, to get people out, get them into the rinks. I mean, realistically, it plays into some places that there's, like, not a lot to do. Like, there's not much to do in Doketown. It's a big, like, if you ask anybody there, it's a big winter town, though. So it is kind of interesting how they can get that many fans while, like, it's snowmobiling and four-wheeling time and, like, hunting and everything like that. But other than that, like, other than the leisure activities like that, there's not much to do. So for them, it works well. We haven't really been many places. Shipping and Tracadie have just always had senior teams.
Yep.
And I mean, they'll say the same thing in Shippigan. What else is there to do on a Friday night? Tracadie plays on, Saturday typically? What else is there to do in Tracadie on a Saturday night? Dalhousie is an interesting one because 25 minutes away or so, you've got the Tigers that play Junior A.
Yeah.
So for them to have as many season ticket holders as they do is insane.
The price has to factor into it too, though. Like, senior hockey is a really affordable night of entertainment for a family.
Right. So. I mean, you look at some Junior A teams, like, just locally, like the Ramblers is only $10. The Aces is $15, so there's an extra $5. And I don't know what the Tigers are or the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves are $10. So if you think of that, there's 4 teams in our league that compete with Junior A teams.
West Kent as well. West Kent does 15.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. And you see that Bucktouche is struggling, but I don't know if that's necessarily that or.
There's a lot of hockey there now too, though. Like,
yeah,
you get Junior B in Capillet, Junior B in Kokong. You got the high school teams. Mm-hmm. Then you got 2 high school teams in Chediac. Then you got the Hawks who play the same night. Now you have the Junior C team in Elsie. You have the Junior A team in Bucktouche.
Yep.
So, like, there's 7 teams that you're competing with realistically.
It's great for the hockey fan because there's always something every night of the weekend, regardless if your team's on the road or not. But yeah, it's tough to choose sometimes when there's multiple. Not for us, we just choose whatever senior game there is, and if there are 2 games close enough, we just go to both. But yeah, it's an interesting year, but it's been fun to see the growth of the league and how people are really getting into it.
Well, I think the thing that hurts Bucktouche so much right now is, like, all those teams, like, you look at those Junior B teams, they're mainly local guys. Shediac's not very far. Kokong's not very far. Elsie's not very far. They have the new Junior C team, that new Junior B team in Capillet is a year old. Then they've got the Kent team that's always good. So, I mean, they've definitely got their own fans for sure.
Yeah, and they've got some games on Friday nights where they're directly competing with Kent Coyotes for the first time. So that they've a lot of crossover fans.
So if you play Friday night, you're competing with Kent, and if you play Sunday, you're competing with the Hawks. So no matter what day they get, they're competing with somebody.
Yeah, you're not. I've never thought about it that way, but you're right. I'm hoping to see the crowds pick up in Bucktouche some because we've been to, I don't know, most of their games, and I mean, it's fun. It's good hockey. They're not a bad team. They're starting to pick up. They beat the Springhill Coal Miners in a shootout.
They sure did. Yep. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that game.
So you were talking about competing, and Springhill this year is definitely a contender. 11 points, just a few points back from Dalhousie. Did you envision that this would happen to Springhill, that they would be one of the top teams?
I knew we were going to get better. The only reason I say that is because we have a lot of guys, like with the jurisdiction rules and like the region rules, we got Truro. And there's a lot of guys, not necessarily that came from away, but there's a lot of guys from Halifax that went to high school in Truro, right? Mm-hmm. So like we only have one, but we also got two new guys that went to high school in Amherst. So having those two high schools more than anything, like other than that, we have no players from Truro. Like we had Jesse Cox from last year, but I mean, when we went out and got him, he was one of our 4 or 5 junior A or less players. And now he's a part of our territory. I knew we were going to be better. I'm not a big fan of the import rule. I mean, our import's great. So I like it right now. I like it, but I'm not sold on it. I think we could have got away without it. Like I get teams needed help, but like there's different ways than to go get a guy that played ECHL or less.
Yeah.
I mean, Chisholm has been great though.
It has. The only thing that is going to hurt it is you got to look. It'll depend on what the league does. If the league says, okay, your imports from last year are grandfathered in, you can go get 2 more this year, and 2 more next year, 2 more that year, and 2 more the year after. It'll ruin the league.
Yeah.
No, completely.
If you're only allowed, let's say they say, okay, well, you had 2 last year, you can keep 1 and go get another one, doesn't matter, player or goalie, then maybe that'll help. Like, I mean, I don't like it, mainly because we didn't need an import goalie. Like, we have 2 goalies. So it would have been nice to be able to go get another import defenseman. Because we all know that's our worst. Not that our defensemen aren't good, but, like, the league has such a good defensive core in a lot of teams.
Well, speaking of defensemen, leadership is a big thing in this league, and you guys have one hell of a great leader in Bobby Davis. Can you talk to us a little bit about him?
Yeah, Bobby, local guy, played for the Ramblers, went away, played for the Teton, played some pro, came back, played. I think he played a year senior in Memram Cook. He was one guy right off the bat that when we started the team, we knew we needed to have him. I mean, and at the beginning, it turned into everybody just wanted, like the fans just wanted him to fight. He only fought 3 or 4 times last year, but he did it in times where, like, he knew that he had to. Kind of like this year. Like, he's already fought half as much this year as he did last year. And the thing right now is, with Bobby, the leadership comes in because he steps up for guys, like when they get hit. Like that game against the Hawks when Wenzel got hit, it might not have been a dirty hit, but Bobby knew that, like, he had to send a message to let them know that, next time if it is a dirty hit, this is the same thing's going to happen. Like,
yeah.
I find, not that we got pushed around a lot last year, but I found there was some games where, like, other teams hit us more and they played more of a rough and aggressive style. And having Bobby in the lineup definitely helps with that. Because, I mean, like, you see him do that, and then let's say a game he's not playing, then you have somebody else step up to that role of, trying to do what he did when he was in the games. But even in the dressing room, he's a good leader. I mean, all our boys get along. So, we don't have anybody that dislikes each other, which is great. And I think that comes down from the leadership. Like, our assistant captains too, like Renee and Deegan and I guess it was Chipman. Like those guys too, like the leadership just comes down because we have a lot of guys who have been in situations where, like, they could have went for a championship, and some of them have won. But we have a lot of guys who, like, were really good hockey players, just weren't on teams that won. So we got a lot of hungry guys too. So that ties into, did I expect us to be better? I knew the minute that Mike Clark came back, we were going to be a better team.
I agree with you. I think the general perception from a lot of people, especially in the northern part of the league, were like, well, how is this happening? When you guys beat Dalhousie, I got some messages where it was like, what just happened here? That somehow Spring Hill beat Dalhousie, who they thought were the almighty. I'm on your side. I saw a lot of Spring Hill last year just because you guys played the Hawks a ton. We went to a lot of Hawks games, went to most of your games in Bucktouche. And I'm not shocked because as the year progressed, I saw the team gelling. So I'm like, this year, and theoretically, they should just continue to head in that direction, and you have. Maybe more so. There's a lot more offensive firepower this year, which is, unexpected. You guys added a couple of guys.
We added Nick Jordan. We added Ryan McDonald. We added Brett McNeil, who was a big piece. We added R.D. Chisholm, who's our import. Really, you look at our lineup, we didn't add a lot of guys. Like, there's teams that went out and added 10, 12 new faces. We've got a solid, 7 guys.
Yeah.
And I don't really count Clark as new because he started the year with us last year and went away to, pursue other opportunities, and now he's back. But even our younger guys, and I tell people this all the time, last year we had Matts and Nate Stone, Alex Griffiths, Chad Miller, who are with the team now. They're back from last year. And those 4, there are 4 of our youngest players, even Doyle too. There's our 5 youngest players. And within the year that they played last year, look at Matt Stone now. Matt's had 3 assists last weekend and a goal. He had 4 points in the game when, he started last year. We knew he was going to be good because he was always a good junior B player. But when you're playing against guys that have played university and pro, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
But everybody that we had that was younger, they all now have 1 year senior experience. People don't look at it like that. They just they played for the team last year. Well, for every game they got in, they're playing against guys that on an equivalency scale, you're playing against a guy who played university even, already better than a junior B player.
Yeah.
And, now I don't think our guys look like guys who played junior B.
No, I agree. I noticed that too. The Stone Boys are definitely, they've kind of picked it up this year. They're a little bit faster, a little more confident out there, I think. And that shows. And I think they're getting better ice time too. They're out there on the power play sometimes, things they weren't seeing last year. So, good on you guys, good on the coaches for seeing the potential there.
Well, it definitely, it works when everybody gets along. And I mean, for us, we've been lucky that we don't have anybody that, if we've lost players, it's strictly because of other commitments. We haven't let anybody go because they weren't good in the room or anything. We've been very, very lucky to have a tight knit group. And I think that helps with how we've gotten better. For the most part, our guys always have a good attitude. Yeah, that goes a long way. We never go into a game going, oh my God, boys, we're going to lose this one. And I think last year too, I think about this a lot. People go on and if anybody talks about the playoffs last year, they just say, "Oh, the Hawks swept the coal miners," and it's okay, yeah, we got pummeled that first game. Yep. We also, because of the way the league made the schedule, we played Miramichi the night before that game, and then we lose to them by 1 goal the next 2 games, one of them in overtime. So, to a team that lost 17-1 to Bucktouche the second game of the year, to go and lose to the Hawks 3-2 in OT in our last game, even last year, if we had drew anybody else in the first round, I guess the first full round, because the other was just mini series, yeah, it could have been different, right? If our placement had been different, we could have went further. Who's to say?
And you would have gelled further in that first round or whatever, that first real round. And you never know. I think, and we talked about that when we talked about last season. A lot of people look at the series, 3-0 Hawks. You can't really just say that. It's like looking at that River Valley series with Bucktouche last year.
I was just going to say that too. Yeah.
River Valley kept it close. A lot of those games could have gone either way. If Bucktouche doesn't have Colette, it's probably a different story. For the coal miners, we were at every game against the Hawks. And we were biting our nails for that overtime game because last year we were definitely some Hawks fans. And, you slowly win us over, though. I won't lie. We've always kind of said that we've got this soft spot for Springhill. I don't know what it is about the team. I don't know what it is about the way you guys play. I think it's just gritty and, it's just fun to watch guys get in front of the net, and you guys play that style of hockey from day one. So,
and it's like we don't like we get along with every team for the most part. I think everybody in the league is good at like handling like what happened on the ice kind of stays there, and you know, you let the guys figure it out. Like, there's nobody in the league that's like, oh my god, one of your guys hit our guys, we hate you. Like, no, everybody gets along. Because if we don't, like, the league's just not going to work. Everybody has to at least get together, get along at some point to make things work.
Yeah, you got to be able to work together and realize that you're all working as a unit, as a league, and trying to bring it forward and just upping the potential for this league.
Which I think in the 2 years, like between last season and this season, I think the league's definitely gotten better.
Yeah,
like anybody could win on any given night. Like, we've proved that before. Bucktush has proved it this season. Elsie's, I guess Elsie's the one that everybody's trying to beat to prove that, but.
Yeah, I mean, not anymore though. Everybody kind of wants to be Dalhousie, which you guys have done. You guys have beaten every team so far this year except the Hawks, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the Hawks are the only team we've never beat.
It's an interesting. How do you feel about that, Connor?
And we've played them more than everybody else.
How do you feel about that?
Well, the thing about the Hawks that's tough is you never know who's playing for them. Like, because like they have such an interchangeable roster. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, it's good for them that they have so many guys that are ready to play. But, like, with us, typically when we play them, it's a 2-game and 2-weekend thing. And a lot of the times, like, we don't have the same rosters. Like, we'll have, like, a better roster at home than we will away. They're a tough team to play, man. Like, when you watch them, and I said this right from the beginning, when you watch them line up for the first face-off of every game, you can already tell they know they're going to win. They just have that. They have that aggression. Remember the team? Remember in the Mighty Ducks movie when they played Iceland?
Yeah.
How Iceland just looked like they were ready to go every game, and they were just unreal. Yeah, that's how the Hawks feel. Which is crazy because every time we play them, like, either they get a really quick goal, or we score and they score 2, or we get penalties. Like, I don't know. It's been different every time we've played them. There's never been like a consistent thing that's happened that why we lost. It's something every time.
Talking about penalties, that one game in Richard Buckter this year, all I saw across the ice was beard and red face. You were pretty mad that game, man.
No.
Is it because you just want to beat the Hawks?
I don't even think it's so much that. I think it's just that, like, the refereeing in this league and anywhere lately isn't consistent.
Yeah, inconsistent is the key word.
Like, oh my god, and it's the same guys every time. And like, when the linesman's coming to the bench and telling guys to go fuck themselves and shit like that, like, somebody's got to step in. And I've said this many times, and this is one thing that, like, I don't really care if I get in trouble for, because the refereeing in New Brunswick, for sure. Like, our refs are always different in Nova Scotia. It's interchanging. We get different guys every weekend. Mm-hmm. But the refereeing in New Brunswick is so inconsistent and terrible. Like, it's good in Dalhousie. It's not bad in Miramichi. It's typically good in Doketown. I guess we'll see how good it is in Doketown this weekend. But, like, that's the thing. Like, you'll never see us lose a game and me be like, oh, we lost the game because of the refs. Typically, I'll complain about the refs if we, like, no matter what. Even if we win, there's been games we won and I've been like, wow, the refs are bad. Like, it's not a win or lose thing. And I think in that game, I just got so... sorry, my phone. I think I got so mad just because, like, they were letting shit go and then calling it on one team. And one of the refs, not both of them, one of the refs and one of the linesmen were absolutely terrible. And one ref and one linesman were great. And it's tough when it's like that, because then you got the other guy going around to try to even shit up.
Yeah, I completely agree in that game. And again, on the weekend, you probably didn't see a clip because I don't think anybody has a clip. I don't have a clip of it. I wish I did. There was this point where the ref is staring at this play, and Danny Crate grabs Valcour's stick, rips it out of his hands, and throws it down the ice. no call. And I was behind the net and I was laughing my head off. I was like, that's amazing. I instantly got 2 text messages, one from a Dalhousie fan, one from an Elsing fan, both of them going, what the hell was that? And I loved it because, again, you're not only seeing the complaints about the ref for your team, you're seeing the complaints about the ref for both teams. Like, that's just a stupid call. What's going on here? The inconsistency makes it hard to enjoy.
They get paid too much to be that bad.
Yes. Yeah. And they have too much training to be that bad.
Like, it's just, and that's the shitty part. Like, there are good refs.
Yep.
I think that in Springhill, we have had a bad ref. We've had refs that I prefer not to have. But we've never had a ref we've had one ref in 2 years that changed the game. And we were told that he would never ref another game here. And it's because even people around the situation that were involved as refs knew that he lost us the game. Like, not even lost us the game, but impacted the game so much that became a turning point in the game.
Yeah, you never want the refereeing to be so bad that it makes the game unplayable for one team or the other. And you see that sometimes. We saw that a couple times last weekend. Man, just, yeah.
Get better. The last play in the Hawks and Dalhousie. Dalhousie ices the puck as they're on the power play, and they don't call the icing. Could potentially cost the Hawks a goal. So,
well, and the thing that gets me is Hockey Canada is so big on maltreatment. Oh, you need to respect the refs. You need to respect the refs. Respect goes 2 ways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're making calls, and I typically only get mad when guys get hit or like are in there's potential that they're gonna get hurt, right? And when I yelled at the ref in Rishabukto, it was because Danik Kret hit our AP from behind and then went after him, which is weird because then Kret apologized about it. But it's a heat of the moment thing, right?
Yep.
I mean, like, it's like our affiliate came off. It's like, oh, whatever. But at the same time, like, it's up to the ref. They're there to make sure that 2 things. Make sure the game goes in a manner of, like, you know, they ref it so that it's fair for both teams. And by fair, I don't mean that the same calls are the same all the time. Like, it's not that we should have 5 penalties and they should have 5 penalties. That's not what I mean. Fair is, you know, you can be fair without being even. And 2, like, they're there to protect the players. And there's a lot of times in our league where the refs don't protect the players. They would rather, you know, they know them from seasons before and dislike them. You know, like, that happens. Get guys build a reputation. Like, there's certain refs in Bucktush and Rishabukto that, you know, when you get them for a game, you're already down 1.
Yeah. Hard to disagree with that. So the Corey was mentioning, like, you know, the way that the refs come out in Rishabukto, they eat some shit from the fans before they even hit the ice. So they're already getting on the ice a little aggressive.
It's not even like that just for the away team.
No.
You don't know. Somebody's down 1 right off the bat, but you don't know what team.
100%.
I can know right off the bat that it's the away team getting the minus. But you can't even tell in those times. Like, maybe if Bucktush and Elsie didn't play the same night, maybe they could get the 2 best refs from each crew, and maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's not enough refs. I don't know.
There's definitely a lack of refs in New Brunswick, that's for sure.
Well, it's like the maltreatment thing. Like, okay, I get it. But at the same time, it's not like these guys are volunteering. Like, they're level 5s. They've been reffing for long enough to be level 5.
It's a paid position. You got to take it that way and hopefully do a good job.
And they're very good refs. There's a young guy in Bucktush. I don't know who he is. Very good ref. He reffed a lot of the playoff games last year.
Yep.
Very good. Didn't make a call until he had to. The shitty thing for him was the guy that he did most games with called everything, so he didn't have to call anything.
I know exactly what you mean. That's the horrible part. There are some really good refs. And like you said, Miramichi, I've been doing a ton of Miramichi games lately. Man, they've got some good refs in Miramichi.
Josh McCormick's probably the best ref in the league. I don't know which one he is, but he does. He's one of the refs every time somebody plays a Miramichi. Okay. 2 tall guys that look like each other. Not sure if they're brothers. I asked them last year and they laughed. So maybe those 2 are always good. The old guys from Dalhouse here are always good. But that's the thing. Like, when you go to Dalhousie, if it's the same 2 refs every time, typically it means that they're doing every one of their home games.
Yeah.
So the guys, like, our locals are great. Last year we had 1 level 5. He did as many games as he could, but now we have 2. So typically, if the Ramblers play that night, we get 1, they get 1. Then we'll get a local linesman and then like a ref and a linesman from away. But the shitty part for us is sometimes our refs come from as far as Halifax. So maybe I get so mad about the refs because we pay the most in the league for sure. But, it's just because we don't have local refs. We do, but we only have 2. You share them with the junior A.
Let's get off the topic of refs before you say something you're going to regret. So we'll start. One thing that I didn't ask you the first time that we ask everybody is, you've seen me. I haven't skipped a meal in a long time. What's your favorite rink food?
Favorite rink food, like specific rink in our league, or in general? In
general, if you're going to a rink, any rink you want to, doesn't matter. What are you going to get?
Poutine for sure.
Poutine for sure. What are you getting? What do you get in Springhill?
If I can do it, like if I'm not busy, popcorn chicken poutine. Come on, Corey.
I know you were talking about it last week. Popcorn chicken poutine all day.
Have you tried the Donair burger in Springhill?
I'm not a big Donair guy.
Oh, that's the competition right now between the burgers is Springhill and Doketown on which has the best burger. So right now it's tied for me.
Anytime I've been in Doketown, I've been on the bench. The canteens. The shitty part that I always forget is that most of the canteens only take cash. So I show up with debit and then I can't eat.
Some of them are catching up now. Some of them have debit.
Man, I don't think I've really eaten in many of the rinks except for Elsie and Dalhousie.
What'd you get in Elsie?
Poutine.
Of course. Good poutine. Decent poutine in Elsie.
They get good food. The shitty part about Elsie is that the lineup is like 2 hours long the minute you walk in. The first time I was there, they ran out of food.
Really?
Yeah, they were only selling chips and pop.
That's rough. Yeah, last weekend, that one of the biggest crowds I've seen in Elsie for a regular season game, and the lineup never got less than a 20-minute wait. I didn't eat.
That's a good point. Shout out to the canteens in the league, because there's been times we were that rink. There were multiple times last year where we didn't have a canteen, and Paisano's got the canteen.
Yeah, man, those guys, all the canteens work their butts off because there's a lot of people going to games. So, again, hats off to them.
Shout out specifically to the rink in Dalhousie, though, because there's nothing to eat in Dalhousie after a game. And that canteen stays open for us every time. Always get fed. So shout out to them, because not many places do that. I'm sure most would if you asked, but not many offer it up. Like, we've never had to ask. They just come to us and say, you guys need to eat after the game.
What should I get in Dalhousie?
Anything there's good. Gravy's a little salty. If you like salty gravy, go for it. Don't stay away. Some people do, some people don't. Anything's good, man.
Shout out to that Dalhousie canteen.
I'm not picky. I just like poutine.
With the league growing the way that it is, do you think we see some expansion in the next few years? And if so, where would you like to see that expansion happen?
I don't know if we do. The issue with expansion is there's supposed to be a team in Grand Lake there. We have territories, and like up north, there's no place for movement. Because like Bathurst was really the only untouched part, and they kind of like imported that into different teams' regions. For us, if they put a team in Truro, it'll ruin us. It's just ruin our region, right? Like, we don't have right now for Cumberland County. Like, we have a couple guys that like are junior age that could play senior eventually, but other than that, we're on like a 5-year waiting period. So like, we need that Truro. Because there's junior B in Brookfield, which is just outside of Truro for anybody who doesn't know. So, they have a good program. They have a coach that keeps it going. So there's players there. There's players in Truro itself through the junior A team, but most of those guys go play university. So for us, if we were going to do it in Nova Scotia, I don't know where they would go because it becomes a long trip for the other teams, right?
Yeah.
And then Brunswick, now you have that team. You have the Western League, the Appalachians League, I think it is now. No idea. It was the CRL before.
Yep.
They have them, and they have teams in they have a team in Kedgwick, which is pretty close to Dalhousie. So right up through there is taken. Then you got the Southern League now, which has the teams in Grand Lake and Tri-County too. So realistically, there's not very many places to go. Bucktush has Capital A now as their territory. So realistically, there's Memram Cook. I don't really know where else they could go.
Yeah, there's Memram Cook, and theoretically, hopefully someday Capital A comes back.
Capital A would just because now Bucktush has that as their territory, right?
Yeah.
Because they combined. You could, trying to think. I don't think it would work in Moncton. It would work in DF, probably at the AJL. It wouldn't work at the Uniplex. Just, you need a place that looks like, I guess, though, it might not work in DF because the Junior A team didn't. Tough. It's more of a Memram Cook thing, but even Memram Cook only lasted a season the last time. Oh, Sussex. You could probably put a team in Sussex or Petitcodiac.
Yeah, Petitcodiac would be a good option. Petitcodiac or Memram Cook immediately come to it for me, and then, I don't know, I think it's unfortunate that Capital A is with Bucktush now, but I mean, it probably has to happen just for that team to be more competitive, but there's a really good fan base there.
It happened last year because the guys have no place to play.
Yeah. So
it's hard to say. You might be able to get away with doing it in Louisville at the K Arena.
That's K Arena.
It's in the city, but it's far enough out of the city that people would, because I think kids from Irishtown and stuff play there. But they'd be able to pick people from they'd be a powerhouse. Same thing with Memram Cook. I can't believe Memram Cook doesn't have a team. They'd be a powerhouse if they could get everybody they wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. If they could pick anybody who lives in Moncton, man, it would be something.
They'd be good luck.
How's Moncton handled right now? It's kind of divided amongst the teams.
There's teams that are allowed to get players in Moncton, but other than that, it's untouched. The shitty part now is anybody who plays gentlemen's hockey or adult league or whatever it's called in Moncton, whatever league Charlie Bourgeois runs, they made it a rule this year that if you play in that league, you're not allowed to play senior.
Interesting.
So
they made it a league in that league?
Yeah, if you play there, you're only allowed there, and I don't even know what caliber that is. I think it's just organized gentlemen's hockey.
Interesting.
But they're not allowed to hear that. Senior. So that ruined it for some guys, because, you play in that league to play with buddies, right?
Yeah.
It would be nice if there was enough guys up and around northern New Brunswick for a team like Lomec to come back. But it's so close to shipping. Had a good team for years. They were always good.
And that rivalry with Miramichi back in the day? Killer.
Well, and I'd be open if a team wanted to expand to kind of get rid of the territories a little bit. Have to have X amount of players from your territory. Then be able to go grab guys from say junior A or less. They could play junior A, junior B, whatever. But I don't think that would impact the league much if we were allowed a certain amount of guys from our divisions and then from our regions and then allowed to go out and get X amount of players. They would just have to be vetted by the league, right?
And if there was a switch over year to year with some guys transferring from team to team, that could also be interesting rivalry wise. You talk about possibly getting Cullen one day. Well, that would be really interesting in Bucktush.
Yeah, imagine, right? Now, I look at it like this. Robbie Graham's probably the best outside of the PEI in Ontario guys that have played in the Junior A League. Robbie Graham's probably the best Junior A player to come out of New Brunswick, and since he's played. There's other guys, but consistently, Robbie was always good, and he fits nicely into our league. And that's no disrespect to anybody else, but Robbie had 100 points when he played.
Yeah.
Season. So and he fits into our league nicely. He's a good player. He gets a lot of points. but like he doesn't dominate our league. You know what I mean? Like he fits in well and he's great for the league. But I mean, even a guy like Denik Kret played university. He doesn't dominate our league. Like they get a lot of points, but I mean, like it's not like they're getting 10 points a game.
No, they're not making a joke out of the league or making a joke out of another team, and they play on the same team. And the Hawks have lost this year, so yeah, I agree with you. I'm not sure where we could expand the league, but I think there are areas where they could use senior hockey. I see a lot of people traveling.
There are, I think, teams just underestimated how tough it is. It's not easy, man. Like a lot of people think, oh, the teams are doing well and, everything's great. But, like, even to get players during the summer, you don't know who's showing up to training camp until a week before. You got some teams, but the way our schedule is made now, you can't really do it, and it's good because they got it away from it. But, like, last year, you'd have guys who didn't want to play till after Christmas.
Yep, and I think you might see that again some this year in some places.
Well, look at all the guys. You look at rosters from last year and look at the guys that don't play anymore.
A lot.
There are quite a few. I mean, we have a couple. Pittman. There's even we have a couple, and we're only in our second year.
Do you think those guys are some of those guys are gonna want to come back come mid-December, late December?
Probably not. It's just family commitments. Chipman was driving a lot every weekend. So, for us, no. But, I mean, Leighton came back, too, which is nice. We seem to have a pretty good number of guys that, they kind of... Leighton came back a little late, but it was because of an off-season injury. We got him after Christmas last year, and he played just enough games to play in the playoffs. So it's tough. To have a guy come in after Christmas this year, unless you're playing during the Christmas break, good luck.
Yeah, you're not going to get those 7 games.
No. I'm not a fan of that rule.
A lot of people aren't.
You're allowed 25 guys on January 10th. Why can't they just be 25 guys that play for you? They got to be from your region. You got to be within the rules.
It'll be interesting to see what the 25 guys is for some of these teams. I'm curious to see what happens.
I don't even know mine right now. I know a lot of the names that'll be. I don't.
Yeah, we'll talk in January. I got some messages in the last few weeks about a potential year-end tournament and how much that would be enjoyed by fans. Now that COVID's kind of behind us, hopefully that comes back someday. Do you have an opinion on it?
Like a provincial championship or
provincial championship?
Well, I don't think I would believe it'd be a great idea because I don't think that the other leagues are the caliber of our league. I think that right now we have the strongest caliber league in New Brunswick. And that's just because the other leagues have made decisions for rules that have shot themselves in the foot, realistically. The league up in the western part of New Brunswick, they're not even allowed. That's where most of our imports came from. And, they said in the paper, oh, well, the Beausejour League stole our players. Well, no, you said that those guys weren't allowed to play in your league anymore. So don't blame them. But, I mean, hey, that's the thing. Some of their teams could probably compete, but, I mean, it would depend on who won. If you got into a maritime thing, the league in PEI is starting after Christmas. If you made it an Atlantic thing, I'm sure the teams from Newfoundland would love it.
Oh, yeah.
The shitty part would be that every 3 years you'd have to go to Newfoundland.
The beautiful part.
The good thing, it is, if you could afford it.
It's expensive.
The beautiful thing for us is we're the only team in Nova Scotia. So that would mean that we'd be able to be in it every year. I thought that realistically our league should play more games. Let's say everybody plays 20. We play 18 now, right? Let's say everybody plays 21 games. Why not have an early bird tournament at the start of the year where everybody plays 3 games? Or even 2 games. Do it like that. You get your games in right off that. Even with 18. Well, no, I guess it's tough because of home games. But if everybody split the game, and I brought this up before, like, it doesn't necessarily need to be in a team. It doesn't necessarily need to be in a neutral site, because the fans that are going to go are going to go. Like, 100%. If all your teams played in the tournament at the Uniplex or the Fourplex, the fans are going regardless.
And that would be a hell of a time at the Fourplex, let me tell you.
Well, like, the rinks aren't that far apart. Even LC, Miramichi.
No.
Could do it without push. I don't know.
I think the perk of doing it somewhere that has multiple rinks, obviously, would be nice. But, man, that would be great for the fans. Hopefully, someday. Roger, if you're listening, keep that in mind. Connor's not crazy. It's a great idea.
I get where, like, we don't really have any teams that have multiple nice rinks. Like, you have Miramichi, but the Beaverbrook rink is...
yeah.
Then the Forum in Bucktush, which we talked about the other day, I didn't even know was still open.
Still open.
And like us, our closest standard.
Yeah, it would have to be probably a neutral site. You'd probably be looking at Dieppe or Moncton or something. Or... Not sure what that would look like, but man, it would be some darn good hockey.
Yeah, for sure.
Now that we've gone off into the weeds pretty far, let's pull ourselves back to reality here. This weekend, River Valley. You guys only have one game this weekend?
Nope, we were home against Miramichi.
Right, you're home against Miramichi. And unfortunately, coal miners fans, Bobby Davis was suspended for 2 games. So no Bobby Davis this weekend, which is honestly just stealing a phenomenal fight from everybody and my Facebook, because I love to see Nick Foran and Bobby Davis. So damn it.
No comment.
And that's a good thing. I'm allowed to make my comments. You're stealing a good fight from the fans. Darn.
I think it'll be a good game regardless.
Yeah.
Not many people might know this, but it is public now. Unfortunately, Ev Gray, he was one of the guys that started the Northman last year. He passed away this morning. So it'll be, it's nice to play them right after, like, that fresh. Might be a tough weekend for them. It's hard to say. I don't know how many of their players were close with him, but I know some of their executive was.
Yeah.
So, was a good friend of mine too. So it's interesting that we played them that close. Be a good game. And Bill Riley and Jeremiah Martin are coming back to Cumberland County as a visiting team. And I don't even know the last time those two would have stepped foot in the Springhill rink. I mean, Jeremiah's been to our games, but on the ice, he probably hasn't even played Kiwi. So that'd be a good game. I think it'll bring in a lot of the local fans. I know there's probably going to be a lot of Miramichi fans down. There always is.
Oh, yeah.
The playoffs last year, there had to have been 150 of them. It was crazy. One whole section was just Northman fans, which is great. It's great that the league. River Valley, always a tough game, especially on the road. They're tough to play no matter where you play them.
Yep.
Well, the guy, man, and they've added a lot of guys. If any team, I mean, obviously, aside from us, because why wouldn't we want to be undefeated? If any team deserves to be undefeated this year, it's probably River Valley or us with the additions they made. Like, they almost look like a completely different team.
And they're really fun to watch. We've seen them twice in the last 2 weekends, man. They're just a stellar team.
There's another team that doesn't get a lot of credit, man. They started last season with a bunch of guys that played Junior C and Junior B, and now they got, like, they're a strong team. I do not like playing them, ever. They're consistently good, great bunch of guys, fun to play against, fun to play hard against. Like, anything can happen in games against them. Unfortunately, games in Doketown, and it's just cold.
It's a long drive and it's cold, but the burgers are good.
But the burgers are good. I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, we play Friday night in River Valley, in Doketown against River Valley. First meeting of the year. Then we meet the Northmen for the first time of the year in Miramichi. So our first game, and then after Saturday, we will have played everybody at least once. So the tough part of the schedule is out now. We got one trip left to Tracadie, and then we're Miramichi or closer. for the rest of the year.
Man, it's gonna be a good weekend for you guys. Hopefully, you can come out of it fairly unscathed. You're facing definitely two tough teams, so I'll be curious to see what happens.
Yeah, but it'll be in Dalhousie, so I'll have to let you know what the scores
are. Yeah. Shoot me a message. Update the page. I'll have a spot and get the score updated. That'll be great.
We could go to Downtown Friday.
Always an option. Trust me, we're considering it. Connor, thanks for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure. I can't believe we've already gone 50 minutes, but it was a great time.
Cool. Thanks for having me on. It's always,
It's always a pleasure to have you on. Hopefully we'll get you back on here in a few weeks. Maybe once you get the roster lock, we'll talk about that.
Works for me.
Works for you. Thanks, man. Take care.
Thanks, Connor.